Hey folks, this is Yuri Kurosawa with Japan Ball, or you may know me as Yaku Cosmopolitan. Sean Spradling has been creating these World Baseball Classic dream teams, and it's time to look at Samurai Japan. So, hard to believe, but yes, the 2026 WBC is coming up next year. The 2023 tournament feels like it was just yesterday, but Japan obviously won the finals there against Team USA. They went undefeated in that tournament, and we will now see if they can repeat in 2026 like they did in 06 and 09, the inaugural two competitions. I think a lot of people would say that the 2023 team for Samurai Japan was its best ever, and rightfully so. I mean, they were stacked at practically every position. They're getting way more buy-in from the MLB guys, just like a lot of these other countries, of course. I mean, we're going to see the likes of Team USA, Dominican Republic, Venezuela, be as strong as ever. So I think this 2026 tournament is going to be very interesting. Japan is going to be seriously tested if they want to defend their title. But what Sean has for the starting lineup currently is Shohei Ohtani leadoff, Seiya Suzuki second, Kensuke Kondo third, Kazuma Okamoto cleanup, Teruaki Sato fifth, Shugo Maki sixth, Lars Nootbaar seventh, Kotaro Kobayashi eighth, and Shogo Sakakura ninth. Obviously, if you follow MLB, you probably know a lot of these guys, but there's also MPB players that maybe those of you who don't watch MPB are not familiar with. So I do want to talk through these guys as well as his selections for the bench. So let's just go position by position. Behind the plate, Shogo Sakakura for the Hiroshima Carp. I think he is pretty much indisputably Japan's best hitting catcher at this point. You could say someone like a Tomoya Mori, who has the track record, but he doesn't really catch all that much these days, and his defense behind the plate isn't all that great. So that leaves you with Sakakura. He also went ballistic at the 2024 Premier 12. He was named the best catcher of the tournament. As for other options, he has gone with Yudai Yamamoto for the backup. They're for the DNA Baystars. 2024, he had a breakout season as a hitter. I mean, excellent bat-to-ball skills on top of the fact that he is probably the best framer and the best defensive catcher in general in MPB, arguably. This year, he's not really hitting all that well, but I just think the way he frames, the way he calls a game, his ability to control the run game, you want a young, defense first catcher like that on the team. So that's an excellent selection there as well. I do think for the actual team, Japan almost always likes to carry three catchers, even if they don't use all of them, just because, Japan, if they make it, all the way to like Miami and then one of them get hurt, then they're in trouble without a backup. So I think they're probably going to add a veteran like a Seishiro Sakamoto for the Hanshin Tigers or a Taki Akai for the Yomiuri Giants there. And then they can have kind of like a three-man carousel. But Sakakura right now, is a solid defender, and he's a very good hitter, so that makes sense. First base, Kazuma Okamoto. I think Okamoto right now is hands down the best hitter in MPB. Yes, he's currently hurt, but before he went down, I mean, it was an OPS plus over 200. He's going to give you the power. He also doesn't even strike out that much. If he does want to go to MLB, next year or the year after, the Yomiuri Giants don't like to post players, but he can reach free agent status and get there. I think he would have quite a bit of success, kind of like a Seiya Suzuki. I mean, his peak hasn't been quite as good as Seiya Suzuki, but he's still young, and he seems to be getting better by the year. So Kazuma Okamoto there is absolutely going to mash playing first base, hitting cleanup. He is versatile, though, defensively. He can play third base. He can play corner outfield. So they can move him around. Second base, Shugo Maki for the DNA Baystars. I mean, the definition of consistency. He basically, bats around 300. OPS is around 850 every year. Defensively, maybe needs some work. Probably more suited for first base, but he can definitely hold down a second base, especially in a tournament like this. Another guy with really good pure hitting skills as well as power. So got a little bit of experience in the previous tournament, but they still trusted a veteran like Tetsuro Yamada there a little bit more in, the semifinals and finals. This time, I think Maki is ready to, step in and be the starter. Third base, this is maybe controversial, but Teruaki Sato for the Hanshin Tigers instead of Munetaka Murakami for the Yakult Swallows. And it's pretty obvious as to why. I mean, Murakami hasn't played this year. He's played one game, then he got hurt. Now he's going to come back after the All-Star break here. Maybe he, absolutely mashes again, and then he establishes himself as the best hitter in MPB. But Murakami in 2023 and 2024 did not look like that superstar, historic version of himself in 2022 when he set the Japanese-born home run record with 56. He's certainly been good. I mean, he's hit over 30 bombs in each of the last 2 years, but the strikeout rate has absolutely skyrocketed. His in-zone contact rates have gotten a lot worse. He just doesn't quite seem like himself, and he's also not a good defender at third base. On top of the fact that he may be, going to, decline his invitation to this tournament, given that he is expected to sign with an MLB team this offseason. And a lot of these guys want that first full kind of spring training to adjust to MLB. So I can totally see him not being available for this tournament. Now, if he is, absolutely, great, want to include him, you're going to find a spot for him somewhere, either at first base, and then you move Okamoto into the outfield, or you just have him try to compete with Sato there for who deserves the hot corner. But yeah, I mean, right now Teruaki Sato, 25 homers, leads MPB. This has been a guy who always had the raw power to succeed, but a lot of swing and miss in his game, a lot of inconsistency, and this year we're seeing him put it all together. He already has a career high in dingers, and it's only mid-July. So I can definitely see him finishing with like 40 to 45, which is just crazy in a dead ball era. Much like Okamoto, it's an OPS plus around 200 at this point. So Sato, I definitely think is Japan's best option at third base right now. Kotaro Kuribayashi for the Oryx Buffaloes. Shortstop is kind of a hole for Japan. I think it's their weakest position. You got Sosuke Genda there from last time who broke his finger mid-tournament and still played through it. He's Japan's best defender, but he's had some off-the-field issues and just doesn't really hit much. I think it's important to try to integrate some of these younger guys like a Kuribayashi who, actually can hit pretty well and has a little bit of sneaky pop. Now, is he a Gold Glove defender? Not necessarily. That's why if you look at the bench, they have someone like a Rui Muneyama, who is, very highly regarded as a prospect for his defense now in his rookie season with the Rakuten Eagles. But I do think Kuribayashi right now is probably one of the front runners to be Japan's starting shortstop. Others like, Masaya Yano for Hiroshima with his elite defense. Isami Nomura for the Hawks has been breaking out this year as a hitter. Those guys would be candidates as well. Take a look at the outfield. Kensuke Kondo in left. 2024 Kondo was Japan's clear-cut best hitter. I mean, he's always having an on-base percentage above 400, kind of like the Japanese Juan Soto, to be honest with you. I mean, his plate discipline, his ability to not chase outside the zone is just incredible. And his defense in the corners is really good. He started to play right field a little bit more this year, but he does have these like back issues that's kept him off the field for a bit. So we'll see what his health status is. I mean, he hasn't quite gotten back to that peak level yet this year since coming back from injury, but if he's at 100%, you definitely want Kondo in there. He was doing a very good job in the 2-hole at the 2023 tournament. And then, we saw a big power surge from him there in his first year with the SoftBank Hawks. He went to driveline, added a lot of power. He used to be more of just kind of like, a pure hit tool, walks type of guy. And now he also has added this power component to his game. So really a complete 5-tool player. Lars Nootbaar for the St. Louis Cardinals in center, obviously a Japanese American. He was there in 2023, a great, sort of clubhouse presence as well. He brings the fire, he brings the spirit to Japan, and very adequate in center field as well. Just, very consistent production for St. Louis. Interested to see if he gets moved at this trade deadline. But yeah, if Nootbaar wants to participate again, which I think we know he does, he has this agreement that he made with Shohei Ohtani that they're going to, team up again for this 2026 edition of the tournament, then yeah, he's your center fielder for sure. And then, of course, Seiya Suzuki for the Chicago Cubs in right. He's been DHing a lot for the Cubs this year, but, I'm sure he can still play a fine corner outfield. Already a career high in homers for MLB, and I think he's on pace to break even his MPB record. He had 39 with Hiroshima right before he went to MLB, but he might even surpass that this year, racking up all those RBIs there as well in that stacked Cubs lineup. But yeah, this is a great offense. I mean, Seiya Suzuki was supposed to be there last time. He unfortunately got hurt right before the tournament started, and that is why guys like Kondo and Okamoto were able to get an opportunity to play so much in 2023. But yeah, if this is Japan's starting lineup, and then you add to that Shohei Ohtani at DH, who I obviously don't need to tell you how much of a unicorn he is, then they are stacked. Other guys that Sean has stuck on the bench here, Chusei Manami and Shun Mizutani, two outfielders for the Nippon Ham Fighters, both Afro-Japanese, so they're half. Chusei Manami in right, he has crazy power and just what a phenomenal defender. Probably the best arm in not just MPB, but definitely one of the best hoses in the world. His throws from right field to third base and home plate have gone viral over the years. Shun Mizutani right now is hitting like one of the best hitters in MPB. He's been breaking out in a big way over the past few years. He can play center field in a pinch, definitely more suited for the corners, but I think if you platoon him with like Nootbaar, for instance, that would be really lethal for this lineup. I also want to give Shota Morishita for Hanshin a shout. Another one much like Mizutani, who I just think is a great all-around bat. I got to talk to him at the Premier 12 when he hit cleanup for Japan. Another option for sure. Masataka Yoshida, who just came back from injury with the Red Sox, obviously. They moved Rafael Devers, so that kind of affords Yoshida a little bit more playing time now, thankfully. We'll see how he finishes the 2025 season. The problem with him has always just been he's not a great defender, doesn't really have a home. He's kind of just like a permanent DH. So definitely doesn't have the versatility, but as a pure hitter, he's the best in the business. He's not going to strike out in a big spot, and he can be clutch like he was, in the semifinals there against Mexico when he hit that game-tying 3-run shot to really keep Japan alive in the tournament. And then, Munetaka Murakami with the walk-off a few innings later, and the rest is history. So it is going to be interesting to see how Hirokazu Ibata constructs the hitting side of things. Starting rotation that Sean's gone with is Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Kodai Senga, Tatsuya Imai, and Shota Imanaga. There's a few other, starters if you go down to like the bullpen section. Hiromi Ito, Yusei Kikuchi, Hiroya Miyagi, Roki Sasaki, Hirota Takahashi, Yuri Yamasaki, Shunpei Yamashita. Those guys are all traditional starters, but obviously you can only have so many in the rotation. You need 4 for the group stage, and then maybe like 1 more might get a start in kind of the knockout stages. But Yamamoto for the Dodgers, establishing himself as a top 10 pitcher in the world right now. Not a surprise at all. He is arguably the best pitcher in MPB history with his 3 straight Triple Crowns, Sawamuras, and MVPs that he had with Oryx, and now with the Dodgers, he is showing every bit of that talent. Senga, before he went down with an injury, was absolutely killing it towards the top of the ERA leaderboards there with the Mets. Tatsuya Imai is the best pitcher in MPB right now. He is having a career year right now in 2025, keeping the ERA, sub 1.5, getting a lot of strikeouts. It's over a 30% strikeout rate, basically all fastball slider, but he is absolutely disgusting. Shota Imanaga then for the Cubs, much like Senga was out earlier this year with an injury, but he has really sort of punched above his weight, I think, in MLB, way exceeding expectations so far with that high right fastball of his, despite the lower velocity. And everyone loves him, obviously, as a personality. Also, very experienced because he did get that start in the finals against USA back in 2023. Shohei Ohtani, I do think Sean is right to put him as the closer. That's what I would do as well. I don't think you need to kind of overextend Ohtani here and have him like start. Of course, he is Shohei Ohtani, so if he wants to, then absolutely let him start. But, given that they have pitch count limits anyway, and you probably don't need him for the group stages, let him be the closer, just like he did there in the finals against USA, famously striking out Mike Trout to end it. I think Ohtani, that would strike so much fear into opposing teams, knowing that, hey, if it's tied or we're down going into the ninth inning, Shohei Ohtani is going to come in and blow 102 past you with that, sweeper in his back pocket as well. So if Ohtani's the closer, that definitely solidifies the bullpen a lot. Some of the other kind of, typical relievers they have, Yuki Matsui was there last time. He's doing well with the Padres now in his second season. Stateside, Shinya Matsuyama, closer for the Chinichi Dragons, currently injured, but he was leading the league in saves for a while. He's doing absolutely phenomenal, guy with a big fastball and a splitter. Kaima Taira, closer for the Seibu Lions. He has experience starting as well, so he can be the swingman if you really want him to. He has so many pitches. One of the smartest pitchers in MPB right now, just so methodical with everything he does. He understands how to, utilize his short height to his advantage with that vertical approach angle. Taira, in the late innings is going to absolutely shove. Taisei for the Yomiuri Giants. He's not quite at his best right now. I think there might be some lingering injury there, but in 2024, he was just striking everybody out from that sidearm slot, high 90s to go with, his secondaries. He is absolutely filthy. Not just one of the best relievers in Japan, but one of the best in the world, in my opinion. These other guys, like Yusei Kikuchi and Roki Sasaki, obviously they could be in the rotation as well. Kikuchi, up until recently, I would never have considered him for Japan, to be honest, just because, his dates with Seattle and Toronto weren't great. But obviously, he got traded to Houston last year at the deadline for that huge haul, and people were like, what are you doing? But then he was amazing, just started to use that slider more. And now in his first year with Anaheim, he was an all-star, and he's pitching like an ace. So I think you do need to include Yusei Kikuchi. As much as, personally, I would like to see some other MPB talent represented, like a Chihiro Sumida, but tough to not include Kikuchi right now. And then, Hiroya Miyagi, Hiromi Ito, these are, other, I think, top 5 starters in MPB. Miyagi definitely, I would not mind seeing in the rotation above somebody like a Senga if Senga wants to be in the bullpen, to kind of load manage. He's done that role before when he was on the all-world team in the 2017 WBC. Hirota Takahashi and Iori Yamasaki are pretty, similar types of pitchers. They're both kind of like fastball splinker. Takahashi is having a down year, but 2024, he won the ERA crown. And then Yamasaki is kind of taken that mantle from him this year. He is now the ERA leader there for the Yomiuri Giants. So Shunpei Yamashita then is the wild card, I think, because he, when he is healthy and at 100%, he can run the fastball up to 100 miles per hour, just an absolutely disgusting curveball and splitter off of it. He is another one who has the ceiling to be one of the best pitchers in the world someday, still incredibly young. Roki Sasaki there with the Dodgers in his first year, the injuries with him and just the kind of dip in performance, it's been unexpected to say the least. This is not, anything close to what he looked like at his peak in Japan back in 2022 and 2023, the 19 strikeout perfect game. This is not the version of Roki Sasaki that the Dodgers are getting right now. But, if prior to, March of 2026, he does find his form again, then obviously he's a guy that you need to include. I think there's a plethora of other names you could consider. Koki Kitayama for the Fighters, Hiroto Saiki for the Tigers, Shoki Murakami also for the Tigers, Chihiro Sumida I think I already mentioned, but he's one of my favorite players, so I'm going to say him again. Kazuki Sugiyama for the Hawks, even really young guys like Haruya Tanaka for the Marines. Again, Japan is just so loaded, especially in the pitching department, that you can't really go wrong. So I think Sean's dream team here, I can unequivocally say this would be Japan's best roster ever, even better than the 2023 team that went undefeated. It's going to be a challenge, though, definitely, to get through the likes of USA now with, much more buy-in from the American players. And we know just how stacked with talent teams like the Dominican Republic and Venezuela and others are. So the 2026 World Baseball Classic is going to be super exciting, and I can't wait to see how Hirokazu Ibata decides to have this 30-man roster. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe for more NPB content in English.